Atiba, when we talk about the Multiple Sclerosis Support Foundation, MS in itself, and listening to Salma's story, people did not believe her. And I think that was the most shocking part. And she said no one believed her when she said something was wrong. How common is that when you speak about the support network and members of the support network?
Actually, that's not uncommon at all, because MS is a complex disease, and the theme of this year's celebrations is that it's an invisible disease, meaning that it can be mistaken for a number of other issues. Because it's from the brain, and the brain controls every other function, how it manifests can be different. So from headaches to eventual issues with sight, issues with walking, pain, incontinence, different kinds of issues, just weakness. So when persons who get their first onset experience, one of the many difficulties over time, particularly like fatigue and those sort of things, employers might say you're just lazy. There's a fallacy that only Caucasians get MS. And so when folks who are not Caucasian go to their doctor, they say, you're faking it, that's not you, etc. So one of the things that we're doing in this month is to bring the information to all of the parties, doctors, general practitioners, caregivers, even persons who themselves have symptoms but may not understand what's happening to them, so that we can, earlier diagnosis means earlier treatment options. And there's a thing that some of the neurologists say, time is equal to brain, meaning the later you get diagnosed, the more damage gets done, and therefore, the lower the quality of life going forward for you.
Yeah, your first interaction with MS, because a lot of people would want to know just about the personal involvement. How did you get involved in it? What is your interaction with this diagnosis?
Well, my mother has MS. She's had it for maybe 30 years or so. And so I've been able to witness over time the impact on her and many other persons who have MS. And the impact is, of course, on her and her ability to express and do what she can do, but also on the caregivers, the family, even the society. People who have MS, eventually, depending on how progressive it is, employment, depending on what their job is, becomes an issue. Just taking care of yourself, basically, inability to drive in some cases, because
When did your mother first become diagnosed, and how did she explain that to the family?
Well, that's an interesting thing. She had some kind of attack which she couldn't explain, and the doctors couldn't explain at the time, and it took about maybe two and a half years before finally that diagnosis of MS was given. MS diagnosis is through an MRI and through a couple other factors that when come together, this can say yes. And again, it had a profound impact on her. She was able to do as though, keep up doing what she was doing before for a period of time, but then it became more and more visible and more impacting on what she had to do. But that is the story of many people with MS who, in their peer groups, in their relationships with their significant others, MS attacks people between 20 and 40 most. And so that's your productive time of life when you're trying to raise families, when you're doing, you just came out of school and you're getting your career going. So it really is something that is very impactful on those persons who have contracted it.
Now, Atiba, how are you going to educate the population? You are the director of this support group. A lot of people who may be unaware of the diagnosis, unaware of what it means.
Yeah. So this month in particular, we have been raising awareness. We have been putting out editorials in the newspapers. We're doing these kinds of interviews. And on June the 1st, we're going to have a session, public session, where we've invited the president of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Her Excellency Paula May Weeks, to help in the campaign to get the information out there. And the information, as I mentioned earlier, really is to a number of publics, to people themselves who may be battling with certain things and may not know or may not know that they have MS. To the medical fraternity, we've organized certain with some drug companies and other persons organize information sessions to talk about the medical and therapeutic options available for MS persons, and of course the urgency of early diagnosis so that the interventions don't impede in how aggressive they progress.
So what advice do you have for persons? Because again, just like Sharice and with all other stories, people just have no idea, and then they go to the doctor and this diagnosis is just given to them.
Right. So, so again, we are doing a number of awareness awareness activities in the press, in various forms of media. There's a foundation website at MSSFTT.org, MSSFTT.org, so you can get more information there. There will be a session that we're having on June the 1st at Marriott from 1 to 4, and people again can come and hear about the disease and so on. One of the things that we've been trying, one of the stakeholders that we've been trying to also bring information to is the Ministry of Health. The one drug that is approved for MS in Trinidad, something called interferon. It's fine for some classes of MS, but it does absolutely nothing for other classes of MS. So some persons with PPMS in particular have no therapeutic options available to them right now. The drugs for MS are very, very expensive, like $3,000 a month for them. And so you know, that's out of the reach of most persons. So we're trying to interact with the ministry to see if they can bring some new, there's research being done all the time, cures and advances are happening all the time. And so some of that information is so that they're stakeholder inside of the education drive as well. So yeah, so visit the site, come to the event on June the 1st. You can register online at the site as well. We have some Facebook and social media properties that you can look up, and just get in contact with us, and you know, you can take it from there.